Okay, so why are you here? You're a small business and you probably have some concerns. You want to make sure that your business is protected and that you guys are taking all the steps that you need. You know, I'm not going to tell you that we can 100% or that anybody in that case can 100% protect you guys from any hacks. What I can tell you is that if you put the right things in place, you can mitigate that risk and you can be ready so that if something were to happen, you're able to recover in the most efficient and productive way. You might already have an IT department, or you might already be working with an MSP. So what you learn today, you can take to them, or we can have a conversation after this call and see if a complimentary strategic call is what is in the books for you. So who are we? We are AM3 Technology, AM3 Technology and Cybersecurity. We are a spinoff from a prior MSP that we had for over 10 years. We like to do the regular MSP stuff, the reactive and the proactive, but we like to put a special spin on our cybersecurity focus. We want to help our clients and our friends mitigate the risk in their business, right? You want to protect your finances, you want to protect your profit, you want to protect your data, your intellectual data, you want to protect your customers' data, right? If your customers get breached, if you get breached and your customers' information leaks, that information gets out, your reputation takes a hit, your business takes a hit. We're trying to avoid that. So as I mentioned, we help protect from data theft. We take a white glove approach to all our services and security. My team is here to make sure that all your problems are resolved the first time and to the extent of our abilities. We prioritize security without cutting corners and have been serving the area of South Florida and some of the rest of the nation for over 10 years. So the agenda for today, what we're going to be going over. So first, we're going to go over why we need a cyber risk assessment, why your company should have one now. This is almost like a physical, right? You have a physical every year just to check where your body is, to check if the doctor is going to recommend doing anything. You should have this same type of approach with your business. We're going to go over the typical timelines and what to expect in this process. Depending on the size of your business, this can range from 2 weeks to a month. And the very next step to get your business covered and mitigate your risk. So after we're done with this meeting, I can give you something to take to your IT department or your MSP, or if you'd like to have a call with us to see how we can sit down and help each other out, then we can also do that as well. We start with why should you listen to us? So let me give you guys some examples, some stories of some real life cases that we've actually had. So we had a law firm reach out to us. This was right before COVID, maybe a year before. A law firm reached out to us and they bought a firewall from us, a Sonic Wall firewall. They wanted us to come and install it, just a one-time project. As a business owner, my job is to provide them with the full service if I can. So we installed the firewall, we deployed it, everything was good. I let them know that we had more services and that we would be happy to present this to them. They were a little hesitant and they said, we can talk in a couple months. So we booked them to talk to them in a couple months. Although within that time frame, they were attacked. They were attacked and they lost about $250,000. So let me tell you guys a story. They had a business email compromise and somebody got into their system. It could be that it was a phishing email and somebody put in their password and then the attacker was into their system. They were into the system for at least 45 days before they made their move. So the law firm was working with somebody, they were doing real estate, and they were asking the person to send the money to escrow. The hacker saw these emails and he put himself in between. So he created the same domain with an extra letter. So let's say the domain was IIRC. He created IIIRC.com and then was using that. And then he created a rule in the person's inbox so that if the email came from the vendor, the lawyer wouldn't see it. It would route to the new IIRC mailbox. And then that person would then reply to the vendor and say, hey, I need you to change the escrow information, and this is where you're going to send the money to. The vendor does, or the client doesn't know any better. So, they do what they think their lawyer is telling them to do. So they start wiring the money. A week later, the lawyer emails them and says, hey, I haven't got this money. I thought we were going to get things done. At that point is when they finally pick up the phone, call each other. And once they go back and forth a little bit, they figure out that the money's been sent to the wrong person. My team gets a call. We immediately tell them to lock everything down, to give us access. We jump in there. As soon as I jump in there, plain as day, I can see everything I'm telling you. I can see that there's been a rule created that when an email comes in from that client, to forward it to this new address, which is the hacker's address, and then to delete it from the lawyer's mailbox. So he's going to have no clue that that email ever touched his mailbox or was in his mailbox. It ended up being that they could not get the money back. They had to go through their insurance company to make the client whole. My team was able to, unfortunately, it was too late to stop it because they didn't have our services in place before that. But we were able to come in, rectify what the hackers had changed, do a little tracing, and see that they've been in there for about 45 days or so. We were able to see the day that they got in, but that's all we could see from the Microsoft audit logs. If we had some more systems in place, we could have tracked it a little bit more and known how they obtained their credentials and everything like that, but we didn't have access to it before. So that's one example. Another example was the same exact situation, you can call it, or scenario, where a landscaping company lost money because the hackers were in their system for about almost 90 days, to be honest. I think they were just waiting to catch the right email chain where large sums of money was going to be exchanged. And then they did the same thing for about $80,000. That landscaping company did not survive that, and they ended up having to sell within a year and a half of this happening. So what happens a lot of times is a company gets hacked or breached, and they don't survive very long after that, depending on what the situation is. Remember, you take a hit in your reputation, you take a very big financial hit, and the average small business, it's very hard to recover from that. So we are on the leading edge of cybersecurity. We attend our conferences, we stay on top of what's new, and we bring that to our clients. We invest in the protection of our clients. We try to become a very, very strategic partner with you. So it's not just, we're your IT company. We almost try to be, another seat at the table in your company. The more we learn about your company, the better it is, the easier it is for us to help you stay protected. So some of you might be asking, what is a cybersecurity risk assessment, Emilio? I know you mentioned that it's almost like a physical for your body. So let's follow that analogy. So it's almost like a physical for your network, right? We're going to check, are all the systems up to date? Are there any default passwords around? Is there anything lingering? So we're going to help you identify and prioritize those type of risks. We're going to help you try to protect all of your assets when it comes to data, when it comes to actual hardware, when it comes to user information, all of that stuff. We're going to help you comply with regulations. And we're going to help you improve efficiency. We're going to make your team work better and more efficient and productive with whatever technology tools it is that they're using. So the framework begins with the people, of course. We want to protect the people. Then we will protect the process. I'm sorry, let me take a step back. Protecting the people is the number one because that is the weakest link in every company ever, really. We can put 50 security parameters in place, but if one person decides that they want to break the rules or ignore the rules, let's say that, then we're all at the mercy of what they've just done. We want to protect the process because that's how we're going to grow the company, just following our proven processes. And we're going to protect the technology. Finally, we're going to protect the data, right? Once we lose data, that's when things start falling apart. That's when we have to report any compromises and, maybe make people whole again. Like, for instance, the law firm I was just speaking about that had the client that sent the escrow to the wrong money, because their systems were compromised. Now, either their insurance or they have to pay that out. Now their insurance premium rises, and then that has a trickle effect with the money. So let's focus a little bit on protect the people, right? Why do we protect the people? As I just mentioned, they are our number one vulnerability. If anybody on this call wants a copy of my chapter in a book that I wrote, 16 Ways to Protect Your Business from Hackers, my chapter is exactly about the people, why a business needs cybersecurity awareness training, why it's so important. As I mentioned, our employees, our people are the weakest links to our company. So that's something that we need to stay on top. If you're not training your users weekly or monthly and then sending them phishing simulation tests to test the things that we are teaching them, then we're not doing the correct job. We're just allowing them to kind of just be waiting, right? Sheep just waiting to be slaughtered, per se. For hackers, that's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? You're aiming at a bucket that no one has training in, and eventually you're going to hit something. So the first thing we want to do is protect the people. To give you guys an example, this happens locally, this happens nationwide, but I thought I'd find some local stories to let you know that, this is out there and it's happening. Some companies are very scared to report that they've been hacked because what it would do to the reputation, things like that, depending on what industry you're in, sometimes you are obligated to report that you've been hacked. So for instance, here, Florida patients among victims of data hacking. The Tampa hospital, their network system was compromised, and about 3.4 million Florida patients' information were hacked this year. In this particular hack, it was only 1.2 million, but so far in Florida, it's been 3.4 million in the year of 2023. How are hackers using the data? They're selling it, right? All this stuff goes for a lot of money on the black market. Let me give you guys an example. A credit card might go for 25 cents. Why? Because a credit card can be canceled immediately. And once the credit card is canceled, then there's no use for it. But let's assume that they got a hold of a child's social security number, right? And let's say the child is 12 per se. Now, the next time that child is going to use their social for credit or anything like that might be when they turn 18. So if a hacker buys this or sells this, whoever obtains that information now has possibly six whole years before they figure out that someone's using, that child's social security number and causing identity theft. So this type of information sells a lot on the market. And as I said earlier, a lot of companies don't like reporting. One of my favorite lines is, you're not too small to get hacked. You're just too small to make the news. Everybody gets hacked, just not everybody publicly, states it. So part two, we protect the process. I have a quote here from one of my clients. He said, we have seen a swing in user behavior to keep our company data safe, as well as an effort to watch for all possible attacks. This was when we started to provide cybersecurity awareness training for this company, JJ White Incorporated, and just put security parameters in place, right? Hey, start using a password manager. Start doing this when you do this. If you log into something that's a third-party cloud provider that we're not aware of, and they don't allow you to do MFA or 2FA, two-factor authentication, which is usually when it sends you a text or it has an app that verifies you. If you're logging into something like that, let us know so that we can take the steps to reach out to them to see what other type of security we can do. So at this company, we saw that people were a little bit more cautious and bringing it up to our attention, any security issues that we started having. Part three is we protect the technology. As I mentioned, a lot of businesses will close within a certain time after a data breach. What a lot of business owners don't know or decision makers don't know is that when a data breach happens and you reach out to your insurance company or cybersecurity insurance company, they take all of your devices. They take all your laptops, they take your servers, they take the firewall. So now ask yourself, how do you work while they have that equipment and while they're running forensics on your stuff? So we come in, we create a plan so that if this was the case, we have backups of everything that we can put onto new systems or just a business continuity plan to keep your business going in the case of a disaster like this. We protect the data as well. So a lot of times when your systems are breached, you're going to run into a couple of things. Number one is the compliance, right? Or you need to be compliant with somebody. If you're in the medical field, you might be affected by HIPAA. If you are in the finance field, you might be affected by the WISP or the FTC safeguard rules that are now out. Your data can be held ransom. They can use it publicly. They can shame your company publicly by letting people know that they've captured your data and that they're gonna let it out. These are the type of things that we want to protect from happening, right? So what would we do? We take steps, maybe encrypt the data, maybe put things in place that don't allow the data to get taken, or we put access levels in place so that only certain people can remove that data. So here I have another example of a hacking group called Black Cat. They dropped a ransomware attack on the Florida court system, and they have a vast amount of records that they are holding hostage. There isn't too much information on this because, as you can see, this came out in October of 2023, and it's an ongoing investigation. So at the moment, they aren't releasing too much information. They are looking at it. They reached out to their incident response team, and they're running the forensics to see what exactly was exposed, how they got in. Once they have that information and they know what was exposed and what the hackers have, now they have to reach out to the individuals that were affected, and they have to make them whole again. Sometimes companies will give them 3 to 5 years of identity monitoring. So if somebody was to use their information, they'd be alerted. If there's damages to the person, that person can come back with legal action. So these are all the repercussions of having something happen and not being prepared the right way. So you're asking yourself, hey, Emilio, how long will this actually take? I don't have a lot of time. I'm really busy running my business. So it will take a little bit of time, and we will need some commitment from your team initially, right? From decision makers, from the influencers, and of course from the owners. There's 4 parts to this. So the first one is the cyber strategy session, right? So we would book our first meeting. That one is free for you guys. I'll give you guys the information as soon as we're done with this presentation. We'll book the first meeting. That's when I'll get to know your business. That's when you'll get to know ours. And that's when we'll present everything that we do with the scope of work in detail. For instance, I'll have my guys come in and run scans on your network. Then the other side of my team will run cloud reporting on your cloud systems. We'll do dark web analysis, and then that's a cybersecurity risk assessment part of it, which is the second step. The third step would be to schedule a date to present our findings. So, I'd like you guys to have all your decision makers in one room, and I can physically go to your office and we can present our findings, and I can show everybody what we found, why we found it, and after that, we will recommend a course of action. We'll let you guys know what we recommend for you guys to resolve that with either your IT team, or if you want to leverage our team to assist you with that, then we are definitely available to have that conversation with you. This typically takes 2 weeks for the average size customer. If you have more than 50 seats or 100 seats or employees, I usually recommend a month, just so that we have a better amount of data to work with. So a couple things that a lot of business owners don't know is without a cyber risk assessment, you don't know what to protect. You don't know why or what the hackers want that your business has. So when you're filling out your cybersecurity insurance, they're going to ask you certain questions about how are things protected. Sometimes you think my IT department's already doing this. I would urge you to ask them if they are actually doing that when you fill that out. What happens nowadays is everybody checks yes to all the boxes, then they get attacked. Then the cyber insurance company comes and says, show me proof that these things were in place. And then there's no proof or track record or checks and balances that those things were in place. So when you fill out your cybersecurity insurance, things need to be true and accurate, meaning they need to be implemented. So it's not a yes-ish or a no-ish. It's either do you fully have it implemented or not? And then you would check yes or no. You need to have proof that that stuff was implemented, records, reports, analysis, anything to show to your cybersecurity company. Otherwise, they will throw the claim out and you will not get paid, to remediate, and that would come out of the company's pocket. And that is usually why small businesses usually do not make it very further after a breach. And again, you may think that your current IT department has it covered, right? Because we assume that IT just does anything related to the computers and to the IT and the programming and everything else. I used to think that way too, several years ago. Then I came to the understanding if you're not having the conversation, it's probably not happening on both sides. The IT side, on the company side, you think users are doing something, but unless you're having the conversation with them and telling them, it's probably not being done. So same thing with your IT department. They're probably doing great support and great service. They pick up the phone the first time it rings when you call. They fix your Outlook slow issues. They tell you when your hard drive's going to die. They do all that. They do a great job at it. But what they might not be doing is helping you mitigate your risk in the best possible way. So have a conversation with them. We not only work as an outsourced company, but we also work aside other IT departments in a co-managed setting. Okay, so where would we go from here, right? You have two options. Number one, as I just mentioned, you can talk to your IT department. You can try to piece it together yourself. Any IT department with time, resources, and knowledge can put all the parameters in place that are needed. Usually, the average IT department of 2 to 3 or 4 users doesn't have any security experts on hand because security experts are pretty expensive. So, you can partner with a qualified team of professionals like AM3 Technology and CyberSecurity or your local MSP provider. This is what we do every day. I'm at a conference every other month learning what is new, what's a new threat, what can we do to stop it or get in front of it, how it works. I come back, me and my team sit down, we create a plan for how to block the new things, how to provide solutions for things that we might come, and then we push those out and we implement those at our clients. We are always on top of what's happening and what we should be aware of. So those would be, the main two options of how you can go about getting your company's network physical, as we're calling it here. So, hey, Emilio, what is it like working with AM3 technology, right? What makes us different? I will start by saying that we are not the cheapest guys on the block, but we are the most equipped, we are the most prepared, and we have vast experience helping our clients mitigate the risk. We don't cut corners when it comes to security, right? If you tell me, hey, this is annoying, then we have to sit down and have the conversation. I understand that some things are going to be a little intrusive. and you don't want to have to put in your password every morning. You want it to just auto remember it. And that is convenience, but that's also unsecure. And the more things we do that are convenient, the more unsecure we are. So our team doesn't cut corners when it comes to cybersecurity. We try to provide, top-notch customer service and a white glove service, but we try to always make sure that the number one thing is that your systems are secure. And again, I can't promise that you will never get hacked. I can only say that we will help you mitigate the risk at different security levels, and that if a breach were to happen, we'll be ready and have a plan, an incident response plan to properly recover and get your company up to running back as soon as possible. So we're coming to the end of this presentation. If anybody is ready to book their strategy session, there is a link. I'll have a QR code in a slide or two coming up. So, this is just a free strategy session. We'll sit down. We'll talk about running a physical, a medical physical on your company. So a cybersecurity risk assessment. We can talk about your last assessment if you have one. If not, we can talk about the current status of your current IT environment or services. We can create a plan and a timeline for your CSRA, cybersecurity risk assessment. And then we can set a date for results and findings. And we can present to you, we can present to your board, we can present to the owners, the decision makers, anybody that needs to be in that meeting. We can make it available for them and have the presentation. So again, this would be the links for the next step. Don't wait, our calendar does fill up pretty fast, especially at this time of the year when everybody's trying to figure out how to, finalize some budgets for next year, or just, spend a little bit of extra money that you need to take off the books or something like that. So we do fill up pretty fast coming up here at the end of the year. A bonus training for all the attendees today. There will be a free dark web analysis on your company's email domain with a report. So go ahead and leave your email in the chat, and I should also have it on my CRM system if you register for the webinar. And we'll go ahead and email you guys a free dark web analysis on your company's email email domain with a report. Now, this is information that is publicly accessible. It's just on the dark web, so you need to jump through some hurdles to find it. It's nothing that we're intruding on your company for any reason. But you will be surprised when I give you that report, how many passwords from current or old employees that you had are currently out there for everyone to see. And likely someone is still using one of those passwords, because as we know, everybody likes to use the same passwords on all of their systems so that they don't have to remember multiple passwords. So anybody attending today, go ahead and put your email in the chat for me, or I'll go ahead, or I'll get it from the CRM and I will go ahead and give you guys that information. I'll try to have that to you within the next 48 hours if possible. And lastly, there's a QR code with the, with the same information. It links you to the same site to book a strategic call session with me to go over, what I've discussed here today and just the state of your current business. Hey, let me see. So some of the benefits of working with us, guys, after a strategic session is we like to do white glove treatment. I drill into my guys' customer service and making the client happy. We bend it backwards for our clients that we care about, just like they care about us, because they care about their technology and we care about keeping their technology safe. It's one of the differentiators from us and other IT companies. So that would wrap up here. If anybody has any questions, let me see if the Q&A is open here. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen for a minute. Go back to my video. Thank you, Fatima. Let me see if there's anything in the question and answers. Okay. Okay, one of the questions was how much is the CSRA? How much does that cost? So the MSRP price is $1,500, so $1,500, and that usually covers up to 10 to 15 employees. If you have more employees than that, then in the strategy session, then we can cover that. Anybody that is on this call that that then signs up for a CSRA will have a $300 discount on the cybersecurity risk assessment. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Okay, so no other questions. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today on this webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at info@am3-it.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook, AM3 Technology and Cybersecurity. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.